Hey guys, good morning. It's Friday, I think January 27th or 28th. And this is Kyle. I'm just making a short video this morning. I had some trouble last night because I have a roommate and we have people over all the time. And one of the biggest things about my defense is just putting plugs all over the place that I live. That's probably the best thing. Like if you can't do any passive defense, like you can't put up corrugated steel or aluminum and stuff like that, probably the best defense is putting Altera whole house plugs just around your house. But what happened is we had people over, so they had phone chargers, and my roommate has to do her hair and stuff like that. So they just pull out plugs, but they would just leave them out, even if they didn't plug, the hair stuff back in. And so I had like 4 or 5 plugs just taken out and just thrown on the floor, which is not, I'm not saying my roommate or any of our friends that come over are bad. They think those things, it's like they don't even think of them as silly. They're just like, what is this? They just take it out and kind of leave it out. So I got home from work yesterday and they were hitting me so hard, like in the side of the head. I mean, it was like I felt like I was going to die. And I noticed like later that night, as I had sat there all night, there were 2 plugs out, like in the bathroom. And it adds enough to where it can buffer it out, and so it won't feel like that you're dying. But I mean, it's not a big problem. I can kind of talk to my roommate. But what they do at night is they remote neural monitor me to slow down my lung function. So I'm breathing a lot more shallowly, and I'm not breathing as good. And then they attack like my head. So when your body's not taking in as much oxygen, you can be hurt worse. So I think that's kind of his tactic now. He's getting very violent and gruesome. But what I've been doing, and I said it on another video, instead of responding to them verbally, just whenever I see anything like a one-light car or any kind of gang stalking, what I'm going to do from now on is I'm just going to state my full name. Then I'm going to state my attacker's name. I'm going to state like his background and that he is attacking me with illegal directed energy weapons remotely, that I do fear for my life and my family's life. And then I state, where he lives. If you don't know your attacker, state that you are being hit with remote directed energy weapons, illegal remote directed energy weapons. I feel like this is going to be, I don't think anybody like is listening. Like, I think it's only my attackers who get the surveillance, the remote surveillance. But I think the fact is, like, from 4 years of kind of awareness and then 7 years of being attacked in total, I've learned that if you act out and you just start saying stuff and it's not in a context, it's like a context where only you and your attackers know about it, I think that they will use this surveillance equipment, edit it up, and then you will see a lot. You will be, caravanned by a lot of policemen and one-light vehicles if you have vehicular stalking. That's kind of been proven to me because the only thing I've been doing is stating my name, stating what's happening, like very calmly, but I keep doing it. And I saw like one sheriff's car. I saw a sheriff's car from like way outside of the city this morning. So he kind of like he'll reach and he'll get people who are so involved in it, but even outside of the city. So it's not a bunch of city cops and sheriffs being lied to, because he can't edit up the surveillance that he's doing of me. I'm pretty sure it's better than yelling at him out of context. It's better if you just state who you are, you state what's happening. If you get angry, because it'll keep you from your thoughts being kind of guided towards your attackers. Then you can kind of speak out every time you see something that maybe makes you upset or is gang stalking, that's street theater. You just state your name, state what's happening, state that you're being hit with directed energy weapons remotely or directed energy weapons from the ground. And I feel like I've been getting, I hear a response on the V2K, which isn't they're not got him or anything like that. When I yell, they get excited and they're like, yeah, we got him. I'm getting a more somber response. So I'm just going to keep on doing it and see what happens, but just state very clearly what's happening, that I state my full name, Kyle, and then my last name. I state that I'm a U.S. citizen without a history of violent crimes, that I'm innocent of crimes, and then I state his full name and his address, and that he is, I explain his background. He is ex-Army, so he's been trained to kill, and he is murdering American citizens in their sleep with illegal directed energy weapons. So I just state this, verbally, whenever I see any kind of vehicular gang stalking or anything like that. I think that's going to be my plan from now on. I'm just going to keep that going just forever. I don't think I'm going to speak to them out of context, because I think they do edit the surveillance, and then it's whoever handles this stuff then lies to police. The police know about the surveillance, and they think that you're just a crazy person talking to yourself or yelling at no one. So we've got to be smart about this. We've got to think outside of the box, and this may not work. He's attacked me personally, with his directed energy weapons. He's attacked me more heavily as I've started doing this. But however, the vehicular stalking has decreased, it's decreased 20-fold. So there is a correlation between what you're doing verbally and externally, responding to this, and the type of vehicular harassment you'll have. So there is a system of surveillance and passing around this surveillance. My theory, and this is pretty much a spot-on theory, is that it has to, they have to get something on you that is where you're acting out, and then this surveillance is passed around to people who are not aware of what's happening, especially some of the cops that caravan us and stuff like that. They just think you're a person of interest, that you're yelling at somebody who it doesn't exist. So that's my tactic. If y'all want to use it, you can go ahead. If you think it's dumb, you don't have to use it. But I'm gonna start thinking way outside of the box. I've heard so many people on conference calls just doing so many things that are, way outside the box that could do it, that could get people's awareness up. And so I'm gonna try, everything I can. I'm talking to a lot of targeted individuals, and their situations are just so gruesome. It's very hard for me because they're nice people. They're people who just want to live their lives, and their lives have been twisted and contorted by these people. And these people, they'll judge us, till the cows come home. They'll judge us for being murdered. So it's a very sticky situation, but it is also war. We are also citizen soldiers now. And these people, a lot of them have been trained to kill by the U.S. government. They're ex-Army or ex-Marines, or, some of them, I doubt a lot of them are just plain citizens. They may be involved in the low-tech harassment, but I think all the high-tech remote neural monitoring, directed energy weapons, they're only trusted to people who, can keep secrets, who have been taught to keep secrets and have been taught to kill. So my tactic is just, instead of talking to him directly, and they take a tactic of not talking to me directly ever. They never tell me to do anything. They never speak to me like, you're retarded or whatever. They're like, this guy's retarded. So it's a very passive thing that they're doing, a very passive killing of my family. So I'm going to start trying to think more outside of the box and think more intelligently. And it did, because with the Altera whole house plugs, it's you got to plug them in, and it takes at least a week for them to warm up at all. Or it does help immediately, but to really get the effect, you got to wait like a week, and then they fully make a field after like 3 weeks. So it's really hard at my place because they keep getting pulled out. Like, people don't even, you know, I've asked my roommate, I'm like, you know, can you just kind of put them back in, you know, or move them around somewhere else? And, you know, people that don't believe this is happening, they're not going to think that's important. It really was important, though, because I went home last night and I got decked in the side of the face. I mean, it was like I couldn't even, like, move. Like, there were points in time where I couldn't like move my arms. And then also, you know, the attacking in the sleep. And I'm pretty sure they do remote neural monitor me to slow down my lung function, and then hit me, you know, in the side of the face and the back of the spine. But, you know, that's the one thing that I know really works, because, like, if they're taken out, I start getting hit really hard, and it's something that can cover your whole place. Like, if you start getting plugs and just putting them, like, in your walls, and your main walls of where you sleep, and, like, your main walls of where you hang out, they'll build up a field. They'll use your wall, they'll use the circuitry in your wall to you know, build that field against this remote stuff coming in at us. So I'm trying a couple of things, but I am really hurting this morning. It's like this. I'll show y'all. Take off my hat. Look at the hat hair. Look at what this hat has done to my hair. And I wear it all the time. I even wear it to sleep, which is, you know, awful. But like right here, they'll hit right here and up here and then over here. They don't hit me much here anymore because of the hat. But I woke up and my chest was like so heavy. And it basically feels, and they'll hit me like right here, like right around my eye, and it feels like these muscles are just like twisted and burnt, like underneath, and these muscles are all like kind of warped. And then they'll hit me in the back, right here on the spine, right there. And then when I'll put my head, I had, like, what I did is I put all the plugs in. I got my plates up, which the plates do not work that well against remote stuff. I have to just go ahead and say that. The Q-Wave Defender plates work good if you have them by the people's weapons. They work awesome. But if not, if you're working with remote stuff, those plugs and just putting a bunch in your house to kind of build a field inside of your house is such a good idea. I know it works because when I have them in, you know, it's toned down a lot, but then it's like, you know, we have a lot of people over, and that's not a problem. Like, you know, I like people, I like my roommate, but they don't really think anything of the plugs, and they'll just take them out to put other stuff in. They're not just taking them out to screw me over or anything, but they're just taking them out because they got to use, you know, the outlets. And at my old house, you know, I would keep those plugs and the outlets that I wanted, then I would use surge protectors for anything else that I needed to use. So I kept them in all the time. So it's very different and harder to defend because you have other people who don't see it as a defense. They're just like, these are weird plugs, you know, take them out. They're not doing anything. And it really did, it kind of affected my defense last night. Hopefully I can just figure out something where I can keep them in there. You know, maybe just move them around, get some things. But there's a lot of stuff that my roommate likes to plug in, you know, lights, and, you know, she uses stuff for her hair, which isn't, like, I'm not saying anything bad about her. Like, you know, she's got to use all that stuff. But it has kind of been a little bit harder to keep a defense going. But not terrible. But I'm just going to be thinking of more stuff to, you see, the thing is, like, in reality, in this reality where there are really people attacking us, like, it's people who've been trained to kill, you know, there's ex-military, there are people who, like, I doubt a lot of these gang stalkers are just plain civilians who are not trained well. A lot of the harassers and the people who harass you in the supermarket, or, you know, bang on your walls or drive cars out, they're not trained really. But the people who are directing this directed energy. They have the remote stations and stuff. They're trained to keep secrets, and they're trained